Lavender Town is quite possibly the most recognizable town or city from the Pokemon franchise. Ironically, it lacks a gym or any other distinct landmarks besides one thing, the Pokemon Tower. Lavender Town was quite literally a graveyard town, known only for the graveyard, and the distinct melody that played every time you entered. We all know the creepypasta of Lavender Town Syndrome, which tells how the original tune played in the Japanese versions of the game led to children. But what is not so much talked about is the mystery of the town within the games. In Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, the main plot device in Lavender Town comes from Team Rocket. When first arriving, they were in control of the tower's upper levels as they're looking for Cubones to sell their skulls on the black market. The tower itself is guarded by ghosts. Not ghost-type Pokemon, but actual ghosts. Much like the case of White Hand and Buried Alive. The mystery of White Hand has its origin with an NPC dialogue in Lavender Town. A lady asks you if you believe in ghosts, and if your answer is no, she'll say she must be imagining the hand on your shoulder. Buried Alive, on the other hand, was a supposed final boss in the tower and had a bit more story behind it. But going back to the actual game, in order to deal with this impasse, we have to Pokemon some more and return once we've acquired the Sylph Scope, and finally reveal that the ghost impeding our way is a Marowak that was killed protecting its Cubone. At the top floor, Red then rescues Mr. Fuji, a beloved public figure of the town that had gone in to bargain with Team Rocket but ended up being taken hostage. Throughout this small part of the story, the only thing remotely familiar that the player finds is, oddly enough, Blue. This encounter itself gave birth to another theory. This one tells of how Blue's Raticate was injured during his battle in the SS Anne, causing it to die from its injuries as there was no Pokemon Center in the boat. The theory was backed up by the fact that we never see Blue use his Raticate again, as well as certain translations of his dialogue in the tower. Our biggest shock yet might come when revisiting the town in Generations 2 and 4. The place is completely different and modernized. The graveyard has been reduced from a tower to a small place called the House of Memories, and a new building stands tall, the Radio Tower. Even the music has been replaced with a more upbeat melody, but with the original sinister music still in the background. Returning to Kanto from Johto and seeing this change is an amazing creative decision, but within the game it doesn't add up. Why would a town whose cultural identity was based on giving Pokemon a place to rest demolish the tower? There's another theory that not only answers this, but also links it to a different event in Kanto. The Vermilion City construction project. One day, a businessman approached the mayor of Lavender Town with a proposition. Radio was a fad that had taken nearby Johto region by storm. He proposed the demolition of the Pokemon Tower and the construction of a radio tower in its place. It would entirely be funded by the man's company, built at no cost to Lavender Town. The town was not doing well. It didn't have malls, museums, or safari zones that could draw in people or generate revenue. So the mayor accepted, even with the businessman's condition. The construction would be funded by hunting the Cubones that were in the tower and selling their skulls in the black market. I don't think I need to say who the mayor and the businessmen were. Mr. Fuji and Giovanni, leader of Team Rocket. Red was simply a pawn in this plot. He rescued Mr. Fuji in order to deflect the growing suspicion of his involvement with Team Rocket, and as he left the town to continue his journey, Team Rocket quickly resumed the extermination of Cubones. Giovanni was superstitious about disturbing the resting place of that Pokemon, so he planned to move the bodies to a hill on Vermilion City. Here he would build a new tower, so he hired an old man and his construction company to build it. This old man used a Pokemon labor force, Machops, but the construction became problematic. It seemed that despite his efforts, he had already upset the spirits. This became irrelevant in the end as ultimately Giovanni relinquished his leadership over the team. The new leaders of Team Rocket didn't share his beliefs, so the tower was demolished the next day. Strangely, the old man that owned the Vermilion Construction Company died the same day. Most would avoid the place, but occasionally a traveler from Johto will stumble upon it, claiming to see an old man and a Machop continuously stomping the ground flat for an important construction project.